Good morning. How are you? All right, I have to hit my clock because there's no clocks. You don't give a minister the podium without the time. We'll be here for like 5 days. All right. So, for those of you who do not know me, my name is Reverend Veronica Valles, and I am so grateful because I consider Agape part of my family. And I always enjoy coming here. Amazing community. That's what I do in mindfulness with the kids. Let's give ourselves a round of applause, right? So I have a focused ministry called Sacred Living. I provide peace tools in schools. I teach children mindfulness. And I'm always just so grateful when Reverend Lee, who I consider him and Jean very good friends of mine, when they invite me to just share the word with you. It is Easter. We will be talking about the great master teacher and letting go and letting God and being free. But as a mindfulness teacher, I do invite you to go into your heart space. I ring the bell 3 times, hello. I'll try to remember to ring goodbye. But I invite you to close your eyes again. Let's breathe together. Breathing in and breathing out. Breathing in and breathing out. Breathing in and breathing out. And I invite you to open your eyes, and we've greeted each other, but just take a moment to look at the divine in one another. To not see your friend Jean or Robin or Steve or Cindy, or to see God, the presence. Just take a look eye to eye and connect with at least 3 people. And see beyond form and see the magnificence of who they are. Because that's what we do here. We bring forth the divine presence. And that is what the Christ consciousness is. It is the awareness of the oneness, the wholeness that is God. That is what the great master teacher brought to us. I'm going to share a little bit about my story, my evolution, my own inner revolution, and then we're going to go into the tomb to let go of some limiting ideas. Maybe a little chant. And I'm the minister of dance. But let me first bring you, if the master teacher, Jesus, was alive today, the Washington Post wrote this, which I just thought was fabulous. So imagine you're reading the paper this morning online, and it says, the gentleman arrested Thursday and tried before Pontius Pilate had a troubled background. Born possibly out of wedlock in a stable, this jobless 30-something of Middle Eastern origin had had previous run-ins with local authorities for disturbing the peace and had become increasingly associated with the members of a fringe religious group. He spent the majority of his time in the company of sex workers and criminals. He had had prior run-ins with local authorities, most notably an incident of vandalism in a community center when he wrecked the tables of several licensed moneylenders and bird sellers. He used violent language too, claiming that he could destroy a gathering place and rebuild it. At the time of the arrest, he had not held a fixed residence for years, and instead he led an itinerant lifestyle, staying at the homes of friends and advocating the redistribution of wealth. And he had come to the attention of authorities more than once for his unauthorized distribution of food, disruptive public behavior, and participation in farcical aquatic ceremonies. Now, some say that his brutal punishment at the hands of the state was out of proportion to and unrelated to any of these incidents in his record, but after all, he was no angel. The master teacher, the rebel, the revolutionary, and for the record, Mary Magdalene was not a prostitute. She was not. And I'm not going to argue church history, Church of Rome. I'm not even going to go into the details of the transformation or how we've incorporated a lot of the pagan symbolism. I want to talk about Christ, the master teacher, and the Christ consciousness, which is what we bring forth. Sometimes in New Thought, People come into this movement with having been wounded from their childhood. So we must separate principle from the personalities of the church or the dogma. We allow people to be on their own journey. We gather with 1 billion people on this planet that are celebrating the highest, holiest day for them. We stand in the resurrection of the Christ consciousness without judgment. Especially with mindfulness. It's about being present in the moment without judgment. But the great master teacher was about love. Now, he taught the law, but he was all about love. And new thought is grounded in these teachings and grounded in Hinduism and grounded in Buddhism. And what Ernest Holmes had founded is he wove this beautiful tapestry of the master teacher who taught us how to actually attain heaven within now. But somewhere along the way, it got a little distorted. So here's how my journey goes. I was this quiet, shy Catholic girl. I loved God with my whole heart and my whole soul. I believed that the light of God and the truth of God was available, that it was emerging in every moment as nature. I sang with the angels, even though I was a little off key, not my gift, but I every day just had this overwhelming understanding and confusion. The understanding that there was this presence that was so far more powerful than each one of us. The confusion was that how did humanity forget it? How did we get stuck in the glory? How did we forget the story, and how did we forget the glory that is God? And so growing up, in my own little metaphysical, mystical way, in my quiet, shy, constantly reading, but really tuning within to that which was greater, I emerged out of high school confused. Deeply confused, concerned, deeply concerned. And then as my life began to just make itself known about who I am on so many levels, I could not justify some of the teachings. And so imagine being that holy little kid who started the Legion of Mary and the Angels Club, at Holy Trinity Catholic Church, and wandering in what I call the desert years because I didn't have a path. I didn't have anything to ground me. And I was actually so sad and so mad. I'm like, who was this master teacher that I thought was all about love? And the interesting part, it took me on my own 40 years of evolution. Actually, not quite, because that would make me 58. So do the math, I'm 53. But it took me on an evolution of having to move away from that was so known but so uncomfortable, move through my own judgment that I was projecting, and started to actually discover who I really was. But it came through the path of Buddhism. But Buddhism didn't have God, but I love the teachings of the mind and how we can make contact with that which is within and that witness consciousness. But it was when I found the Vedas and the Bhagavad Gita, and I found Paramahansa Yogananda and his autobiography of a yogi. And I read that book and feeling the separation and the guilt and just the, my family not understanding. But when I found that book, I found an understanding of Christ. The real teacher, the Christ consciousness, that was love. The unity, that is what he talked about. Because if you look at the teachings, the real teachings that we draw from in New Thought, he is the great master teacher. He only saw wholeness and oneness. He looked beyond condition and stood in gratitude and called forth the good. People were healed just by their faith alone. And he was a revolutionary, and he was a renegade. And I had to do that in my own life to awaken to what is this great mystery that I call God. And you know what? I like the word God. Some people have an issue with it, but it's very succinct. How can you put the infinite in a box, all right? But for me, it brought me full circle into a deeper understanding of not only the Christ consciousness, which is what the master teacher taught us. The I am. The I am that I am. That each one of us is this beautiful, individualized expression of the Holy One, nothing less. Each one of us, by our own expression and divine essence, is actually perfect. It's in our humanity that we get all the quirks and the personalities, and the textures and the hues and the dimensions. But by our very nature, we are whole. And that was a radical idea. What we teach today openly, sitting here, was taught in the ancient mystery schools. We would have never had that opportunity, but he taught it in the streets, and he taught it to anybody that would listen. And when he would do the miracles, all he was doing was aligning in that knowingness of the oneness, calling forth the good. With the fishes and the loaves, years ago I said he didn't cut it up into little pieces. He blessed it and he multiplied it. He had that consciousness of expansiveness. He had that consciousness of abundance. He had the consciousness of the I am presence. He only saw light. He only saw love. And when he didn't see it and he needed to wake people up, he took the money changers and knocked it down because he said that participation was not God. Because God is generous, the infinite one. The infinite one's unconditional. The infinite one is freedom in the moment. So the journey of my awakening comes full circle by studying Paramahansa Yogananda, by studying the Bhagavad Gita, by studying the Upanishads, by going deeper into metaphysical teachings, and it brought me back to the one who was my original teacher. And it was a transformative time for me to awaken to that. Because he ingrained in each person, you can do as I and greater. He didn't say, you know what, you're okay. Maybe half of what I do. No, you're just a mere human. You're just a mortal. I'm sorry. Not going to happen in this lifetime, No, he said, you can do as I and greater. And so the principles that we teach are the universal principles that the great master brought forth. The Christ consciousness is awakening to that. It's emergence. It's why it's happening in spring. Because if you sit outside during spring, I sit beneath my elm tree all the time, and you notice what is just like 1 minute there's nothing. The tree's asleep, and all of a sudden, these little soft things start emerging. And then they fall down, and all of a sudden these lime green little leaves start emerging. And then suddenly you have this canopy, and without even having to be told, without even begging or asking, it emerges. And that's what we're being called forth. We're being called forth for that revolutionary change to happen from the inside out. We're being called forth to awaken to the truth. And so I was driving to Austin last week, and I was listening to Liz Gilbert's Eat, Pray, and Love, and I love that book, and I've listened to that audio 1,000 times, and I love the part about India, because she's talking about one of the Swamis, and he would talk about his transcendent experiences, because she just had one. She had one of such expansiveness, of entering to that which is greater, that where there are no words, there are no limitations, and she said the teacher would always say, he would share about his experience, and then he would say, now go find out. Now go find out. And the only way we can find out is by going within. That is the only way we can find out. Because by going within, we cultivate that fertile, fruitful darkness that receives the seed. So as I drive from White Rock to Frisco, I see these fields that are now being sown, rows and rows of whatever crop that's about to grow. And I said, look at those infinite possibilities. Look at the infinite potentiality. And how often we plant one seed, and then we walk away, and then we talk about it. It's not going to grow. It's too hot. Oh, the Dallas weather is just awful. Or we talk about our lives. It's too hard. Nothing ever comes easy. It's supposed to be. We listen. We tune into the race consciousness. That's just kind of, it's like this game that is happening in the world. It's like, can you wake up in 80 years or less, or 80 years or more? But we plant one seed, and then like the dog, we dig it up. And then we're pissed off because it's not demonstrating. Or is that just me having that experience? Anybody else do that, or is that just me? All right. So the part of the game that we awaken to is like, okay, there's this fertile field of possibility. There's the fruitful darkness that we're about to enter. We're going to come face to face with those limiting ideas because guess what? They hold no power. That is what the great master teacher taught. That when we are in that Christ consciousness, that God awareness, that there is something greater that is operating in, through, and as our life. There isn't God and then us. It's all the oneness expressing. When we awaken and tap into that universal truth and in the universal qualities that we're going to anchor in together, then the unfoldment and the emergence, just like those beautiful trees and the flowers and the crops that grow, that divine intelligence that I call God, because it just doesn't resonate with me to call it first cause. I just need a little something that reminds me of something greater. And like I said earlier, the word God works for me, or beloved, or love, or life, or beauty, power, wisdom, peace, joy. These qualities are seeking to express as us. And why in the world would we want to limit God? Because that's what's happening when we close ourselves off. That's what's happening when we get stuck in what they call the race consciousness. That's what's happening when we believe the limiting ideas that imprison us, and the master teacher taught us to let go, let God, be free, let it be. So we are going to enter into the fruitful darkness. If we can get the lights. Just because of time, I'm going to invite you to close your eyes. Can we turn these off? We're just going to sit just a few minutes. It would be lovely if we could sit for 3 days. I'm going to invite you to enter the tomb because a great master teacher had to let go of everything to fulfill what he fulfilled. Even through fear, even through feeling abandoned and betrayed, even through the unknown, he prayed. He prayed, and he actually just entered into that last part of his life, knowing that was necessary for the transformation. Now, I'm not saying we have to suffer, but what we're going to enter right now is the fruitful darkness. We're going to enter into that tomb. So take a deep breath in, breathe in, and breathe out. And I invite you to enter into the sacred space, knowing that as you enter, that one thing, we're going to choose one thing today, and nothing that's really traumatic, just one thing, though, that you're willing to let go. That one thing that you're willing to let die. See, we're all afraid of dying, but the great master teacher told us there's no beginning and there's no end. What we're letting go is anything of the ego. Bring that one thing forward into the altar of your heart and imagine that it rests before you. And ask yourself, how is this really serving me? If it's attached to a person, a circumstance, an experience, I invite you to allow the energy of the past to dissipate like the fog does when the sun arises. It holds no power. It does not exist. Are you willing to let it go? You are held in a safe and sacred space of unconditional love. If you're uncomfortable, great. If you're uncertain, even better. We move through the uncertainty and the uncomfortable, knowing that there is something greater seeking to arise as your brilliance and magnificence. So whisper to yourself, I let go. I let God. I let it be. I am free. I let go. I let God. I let it be. I am free. Now say it out loud but softly. I let go. I let God. I let it be. I am free. I let go. I let God. I let it be. I am free. One more time. I let go. I let God. I let it be. I am free. Take a deep breath. Keep your eyes closed. Repeat after me. I am light. I am love. I am life. I am wisdom. I am power. I am peace. I am joy. I am. I am love. I am light. I am life. I am wisdom. I am power. I am peace. I am joy. I am. Now, if you're ready to stand up and really rise to the occasion of the wholeness and oneness of who you are, when you're ready, I invite you just to stand up, and we're going to chant this just a few more times. You have let go of the past. I know it was a quick release, but if you're ready to stand in the fullness and the wholeness as a great master teacher taught, the resurrection is the awakening of the unity consciousness. The resurrection is the understanding of the wholeness that is your life. The resurrection is standing in the truth of your light, your life, your power, your wisdom, your peace, your joy, because it is God. It has nothing to do with you. It is God. If you're ready to rise, I invite you to stand up and chant with me. I am love. I am light. I am life. I am wisdom. I am power. I am peace. I am joy. Can you sing your song? I am light. I am love. I am life. I am wisdom. I am power. I am peace. I am joy. You let her hold that thought. Take a deep breath. I want you to look at the person next to you. And then say this to them. I see life. I see love. I see light. I see wisdom. I see power. I see peace. I see joy. Can you sing it now? Yeah. Do it again. I see love. I see light. I see life. I see wisdom. I see peace. I see joy. Breathe it in.
I want to thank you for joining us today. I'm so grateful that you took your time to watch or listen to this message. If you found this message beneficial, I would ask that you go to our website, agapecsl.com. Once there, click on the donate button and experience the joy of conscious and purposeful giving. Or if you would like, text your gift by simply dialing 972-532-6976. It is through your gifts that we are able to bring this message to you in the world. I would ask that if you like this message, to please subscribe to my YouTube channel under my name, Lee Wolak. Again, I want to thank you for joining me in the Agape community as we learn how to better self-love through conscious living.